Fight fans all over the world, it's Daddy P with Slap Happy Gorilla. What? Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, the kickoff press conference happened earlier today. A grudge match in the making. Listen. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. And they say that boxing is a gentleman's sport. Man, all of that's out the window. Boxing is a very savage sport, and we have some very savage press conferences to prove it. But what's intriguing about this particular press conference that kicked off today between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant for the fight that will happen on March the 25th in Las Vegas, Nevada, man, look, very savage. On the part of David Benavidez, he seems like him and his father, his trainer, his father, man, look, they have an excessive hate, it seems like, for Caleb Plant. And this was more than trash talking. It was more than trash talking. It was more than trash talking. And Caleb Plant, he kept his composure, but something that Showbiz the Adult, shout out to Showbiz the Adult, alluded to was a press conference between Sugar Ray Leonard and the man with the hands of stone, Duran, their first press conference for the first fight, where Duran was kind of getting up under Sugar Ray Leonard's skin by all the trash talk. Even though Sugar Ray Leonard kept his composure, he was getting up under his skin, because you know Sugar Ray Leonard was like that. He had that golden boy image. He won a gold medal for the United States. And in boxing, he was revered in his professional career as kind of like I don't know, he was like a face of the sport, you know, like a positive face for the sport of boxing. So he was trying to keep his image up. So he kind of like, you know, kept his composure, but deep down, Duran was getting under his skin. And I understand where Showbiz the Adult is coming from. But in my mind, it may be a little bit of different take. But yes, Caleb Plant does need to be aware of not letting David Benavidez get under his skin, you know, joshing with him about his KO record. You know, he's 13 KOs out of 22-1, you know, so maybe he want to kind of prove his power to David Benavidez, you know, whatever the case may be. But man, this thing was a very, very savage press conference on the side of David Benavidez. David Benavidez continued to talk trash, continued to say all kind of, I mean, very bad words for a press conference. I say that, you know, I mean, yeah, cursing, swearing, but because the industry that you're in, you know, it still has an image that for the most part, now we done saw some crazy stuff. I done heard Mike Tyson say some crazy stuff in press conferences. But yeah, this was one for the ages to me, simply because it was the kickoff press conference. Like a lot of times you see high emotions in the last press conference, you know, and they're about to face off. You see a lot of pushing, shoving, sometimes fights break out, you know, between the teams or what have you. But this is the kickoff, man, and it was hardly anybody in there. You know, on the stage, it was only the two fighters and their trainers, you know, and you had the professionals who were conducting things up there, but it wasn't like a whole lot of people on the panel, you know. So it just was crazy, man. It was crazy to me. And it wasn't crazy like a big show like a circus, but it was just crazy because David Benavidez, I don't think he was playing mind games. I think he really was. I feel like David Benavidez is emotional for a number of reasons, man. And when I say emotional, I ain't talking about in touch with a feminine side. No, that's not what I'm talking about. When I say emotions, I mean the emotion, anger is running high in him, you know. But I think really he's the one that has to worry about keeping his emotions in check, because, man, the boxing ring is not a place for high emotions. You know, it don't matter. That anger sometimes can get you in trouble in there. You have to have a certain amount of, you got to have a level head, man, or the sport will eat you up, you know. And I've seen it happen to boxers that, that have high emotions. And then I kind of believe that Andre Darrell, when he got in the ring with Caleb Plant, it was like a high emotion fight, you know, for him. You know, there was a lot of antics going on. Them guys was wrestling part of that match. You know, both of them had basically wrestled each other to the floor, to the mat, in that Caleb Plant versus Anthony Darrell. I mean, I'm sorry, did I say Andre Darrell the first time? I can't remember. But anyway, Anthony Darrell, y'all know who Caleb Plant fought. You know, his last KO. I think Darrell was very emotional. That was sort of a grudge match. Him and Caleb Plant had a lot of words before that fight. And I think that emotions were very high, and they kind of got the best of Anthony Darrell. And but whatever the case may be, this fight is a little bit different. And I really believe that, yes, Caleb Plant does have to keep his emotions under wrap. But more than that, David Benavidez, man, I really believe he can't let his emotions eat him up to the point where this guy seemed like he was almost salivating at the fact that he's about to get his hands on Caleb Plant. He's been wanting this fight for a long time, and it's finally here. But I think more than just this fight is the reason for his frustration. He's never lost in the ring, but he has lost his WBC belt twice. One time on the scales, and one time because of he tested positive for cocaine, so it was against the substance abuse program. For not, you know, even though it's not performance enhancing drugs, you know, when they test you, you still can't be doing these different types of recreational drugs. And he tested positive for cocaine, and that's something that Caleb Plant alluded to as well in the press conference. It was a lot of low blows, man. But I think for that reason, you know, this guy has lost his belt a couple times, not in the ring, and he probably felt like, man, he kind of been cheated out of, you know, a little bit in his career, because Canelo Alvarez was able to come in and scoop up his belt, you know, because he had lost it. It was vacant. Canelo Alvarez came and scooped it up, you know, and then he continues to call out Canelo Alvarez, and Alvarez, you know, kind of like turns a blind ear to him. And this particular fight is one that will make the winner the mandatory for that WBC strap in the 168-pound division. Now, Canelo has already expressed several times that belts don't make him. He don't mind dropping belts, because Canelo Alvarez, his name is, I hate to say it, but bigger than the belts in the sport. I mean, he don't need belts in order to sell a fight, you know. His fights are going to do well, you know, as far as revenue. He don't need belts to leverage in negotiation, none of that stuff. You know, that's what I mean by the belts. I remember one time, man, I don't know if y'all remember, him and Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC president, had some words, and he told him, I don't care about your belts. He said, take them, or you can have them. And he did have a falling out with them before, And then, man, now it's like Mauricio Suleiman bends over backwards for Canelo Alvarez, because those sanctioning fees, they get a percentage of the purse, or what the fighter makes, that sanctioning body. So, I mean, they making a lot of money just off sanctioning fees from Canelo Alvarez. So, of course, they want him to hold the belts. So that's what I mean by his name is actually bigger than the belts. The sanctioning bodies want Canelo Alvarez to hold the belts, because he is the cash cow of the sport right now. Ever since Floyd Mayweather left, Canelo Alvarez is the man. So he's gonna make the big money. So his sanctioning fees are a percentage of the big money he makes in the ring. So is not another name in boxing that the sanctioning bodies are gonna get paid off more than Canelo Alvarez. So his name truly is bigger than the belts. And, I really don't believe, honestly, that David Benavidez will get into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. Not because David Benavidez don't want to, but I really don't think Canelo is going to get in the ring with him, But I think his hopes are high on the fact that, hey, man, he done lost his belt on the scales. He's finally getting a fight with one of the upper echelon fighters of the division, Caleb Plant, which both these guys have been at the top of the division for some time. He alluded to that in the press conference. And also the fact that this fight could set up something big as far as a fight with Canelo. All of this is in David Benavidez's mind, and Canelo has come into the division, taken his belt, and is relishing it like, oh yeah, I'm undisputed. So David Benavidez feels like that's his place, that Canelo has his crown and he wants to take it. And I think that has a lot weighing on his mind in this fight. And I don't know, but if Caleb Plant can play his cards right and stay composed, he may be the more level-headed thinking fighter. And because he is the boxer of the two, I'm not saying that David Benavidez don't have boxing skills. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But of the two, Caleb Plant is considered the boxer. People know David Benavidez more for his knockout ferociousness. It's not that one punch knockout, it's that accumulation of savage beating. That's the only way I can explain it. He's known for that, and Caleb Plant is more known for his boxing. But as the boxer, as the one that's playing chess in the ring, Caleb Plant may have an edge in this fight. And, if he can keep his composure, if he can keep his, I don't know what you call it, I guess composure is just the best word I can come up with. But if he can keep his composure, man, and he may be able to think his way through to a win in this fight. But don't get me wrong. Hear me out. David Benavidez is the favorite in this fight. I mean, that's even my opinion. I'm not saying at all that Caleb Plant is the favorite, because I see David Benavidez, I see his ferociousness. I can easily see him overwhelming Caleb Plant, and it's been done. Caleb Plant became overwhelmed with the pressure from Canelo Alvarez and his body punching, and man, he just, he got overwhelmed, and Canelo Alvarez began to pick him apart. David Benavidez can do the same thing very easily. I'm not saying at all that Caleb Plant is the favorite. To me, The favorite in this fight is David Benavidez. I'm just saying that Caleb Plant could have an edge if he keeps his composure. Whatever the case may be, this is going to be a fight that you do not want to miss. It's going to be a pay-per-view fight in Las Vegas, March the 25th. And I can't wait to see it, man. I really can't. And you know, 2023 so far, I'm pretty psyched about what's going on in boxing so far in 2023. You know, I still don't know if we're gonna get the fight that everybody wants to see, Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. But I mean, even without that fight, we have a lot of good fights looming. I mean, like, in the making for this year, you know. And I'm excited about it, and I think this is one that's going to happen soon that is going to be one to remember for the ages. And I cannot wait to see it. So, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, you know, two of the top guys in the 168-pound division will be getting it on. And that kickoff press conference, man. Either way, it's Daddy P with Slap Happy Gorilla. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified every time it goes down. Hit that thumbs up for me, man. Share the video. Daddy P out of there.